time for Coffee Talk. Thanks to EFB, Ashley, and
Brittany.
Get to
Spill the tea.
Thank you, EFB, and thank you to all of you for engaging with your two hosts as we spill the tea. Cheers.
I almost spilled my tea as I was grabbing that, but
Yeah, well,
we made
that's
it.
all right.
We made it happen. QCT made it happen for us. Quincy Community Theatre, thank you so much for donating the vouchers for the upcoming play. Again, these are vouchers, not tickets, so you do have to call the QCT and make your reservation for these tickets. We had a lot of engagements.
A lot.
Yeah, like a lot.
A lot. I mean, this is going to be a hot show, so thank you all for...
And we get not one, but two winners.
Two winners?
Two winners
Okay.
of, I think you get 8 vouchers each. When you are the winner, go ahead and message us via Messenger. You can also email us at news@muddyrivernews.com.
ASAP, so we can get you your voucher so you can call and get the show that works for
Absolutely.
you before they sell out. This one will
Or
sell out.
go ahead and call the number on our website as well. You can text them and say, hey, I'm the winner, and we'll get you your tickets. So without further ado,
That's my drum roll. Number 1, Denzel Casey.
Denzel Casey.
Congratulations. I love your name.
Me too.
Congratulations,
That's a nice name.
Denzel.
All right, let me swish them around here real good. And number 2.
Number 2, Susan Veach. Congratulations to Denzel Casey and Susan Veach. You are the winners of 8 vouchers to go see The Play That Goes Wrong. It is a comedy brought to you by Quincy Community Theatre. It's going to be a great show. I got to talk to Ethan Nienaber, and he said it's a really kind of loud and slapstick comedy, which I think is going to be fun.
I love to see the plays that are like outside of musicals there too. It's something different and something niche a little bit, but it's so cool that it is provided in our community. So, you know,
by a great team.
Quincyans, anybody around the area, come to Quincy. It is definitely a pretty cool experience.
The talent they have there is it's unreal for a smallish community like we have, but they do such a great job of bringing these shows to life. It really is. It's a great reason to have a night out, and Denzel and Susan, you get to do it for free.
Yeah.
Boom. So there we go. Thank you to QCT.
QCT does have their auditions out for the upcoming musical, I believe, for Annie. So check that out as well.
One for all ages.
We'll probably have some, hopefully, voucher tickets giveaway for that as well.
Yeah.
But without further ado, we're on to Coffee Talk, and instead of the play that goes wrong, we're talking about the school district that goes wrong.
Bum, bum, bum. I knew you were going to seg it real well.
I was going to seg it, man.
You did good. You did real good. The school district has seen its fair share of...
better days?
Yeah.
I feel like the better days were back in our days. I don't know. How long?
Maybe we
like,
just
where
weren't
do we
paying
span?
attention.
Maybe. I don't know. I do know that the calling for what was to be met in the classroom when I was of that age, or when you were of that age, we weren't just passed along. Like, we had to make the grade or you failed. You had to be the cream of the crop or you couldn't get by because, I mean, Dems were the rules.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, and I don't know, this is just my perception, but possibly since COVID, MAP testing, standardized testing, discipline, parental involvement, the ability of school districts, teachers, admin, etc., to help create that environment has gone down.
You're absolutely right. I think that is the...
I don't have facts to back that up, but I'm sure I could find some if I needed to.
I mean, it's a mixture of things that created this brew, not this Electric Fountain Brew, but it is definitely a mixture of things that created the brew. The biggest one being that I want to touch on today is teacher salary. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and address the elephant in the room at the fact, hold on.
Yeah. Sip it, girl. It's about to be some hot tea.
I'm going to go ahead and address the elephant in the room of the fact that, yes, my husband is a teacher. Am I talking about teacher salary and pay in this? Yes, I'm just addressing that in the forefront, but there's so much more to that.
I mean, obviously you could benefit from having a higher salary, but so could everyone.
But yeah, also, I do want to preface this with the fact that my husband is probably one of the best people to come about with this
What do you mean?
just discussion because knock on, just thank you. We are not reliant on this salary completely.
No,
you know
no.
what I'm saying? It's
So
he definitely does this because he's passionate about his job.
About
It
his
was
students.
a good gig from the get-go, especially with the pension and the
Yeah.
salary. Are we in it to win it forever? I don't know, but there are some people that will be because I think the biggest thing with Illinois Quincy teachers that we rely on is the fact that we get into a teacher pension where you're just in the game. Once you've become, and this is not the same for starting salary teachers because you're now in a different pension level system. You're not going to get stuck in the game the way that a lot of these teachers already are. But outside the pension system, the biggest retention for our Quincy teachers and families is the fact that you have something holding you here.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that you have holding you here primarily would probably be family. Community.
Cost of living.
Yes, but
Yeah.
having establishment and whatnot. I think a lot of the QPS is reliant on the fact that they know that they're steadfast. They're teachers that are in pension A or whatever they're calling it, are staying here, not for the money necessarily, but for the fact that you're established. You're here.
Yeah.
You're becoming grandmamas. You're becoming grandpas.
Sure. I mean, it's your community. It's your yeah.
But why
it's your
move
hometown.
at this point? But the big thing.
But hang on, I want to ask a question because I think this has changed too, and I don't want to derail the conversation because
No,
I
you're
love
fine.
where this is going. But I also want to ask the question because when I was young, it did seem like there were a couple reasons that teachers got into the profession to start. One, they were passionate about children. They were passionate about making a difference. Two, possibly summers off, right? Even though now that's kind of shifted because of the salary. Generally, you have to hold another part-time gig or do side jobs, etc. But yeah, primarily I think it was because, or maybe let's say your mom was a teacher and you saw the difference that she made. So it was either kind of a generational thing, you really had a passion for kids and teaching and helping mold the lives of these younger students. And then maybe, having your summers off played a part in that. That has, I think, shifted as well. And again, I don't have a lot of factual numbers.
I feel like you're absolutely right. No, I think that every teacher that is getting involved in this occupation at this point is getting in it for the reasons that you just listed.
Yeah.
Because the writing is on the wall, the facts are on the wall. You've got to have a passion behind it. Otherwise, why are you getting into it? Because Quincy Public Schools is by far the lowest starting teacher salary among the 55 largest school districts. Also, to put that in perspective, it is the
55 largest in Illinois?
55 largest in
period.
Illinois.
Okay, 55 largest
so
in Illinois.
lowest starting salary among comparably sized districts in the state of Illinois. QPS is the lowest. We are the bottom of the barrel. I'm not talking among the bottom of the barrel. We are the bottom of the barrel when it comes to that comparison
Of teacher salaries.
Of teacher salaries and the size of the district.
What about admin? Any idea there?
No. Also, we're talking teachers have roughly between the 5,000, 12,000 student range when it comes to this. But,
Okay.
and I know that's huge. But again, I want to put in the perspective of the whole salary aspect. We are asking teachers so much now. So you blame, and you're rightfully so. I totally agree with you on this. COVID had a lot to do with it, especially when it comes to the behavioral aspects of it. But now we are asking teachers to not only take on the behavioral detriment of that, but also the educational detriment of that. And I don't think it's just COVID either.
No, but I think what happened was there was a shift in, we want you have to be responsible for this because we see a lot of parents pulling out of this responsibility, but we're going to tie your hands with, lack of ability to discipline, also more stringent curriculum that you cannot sway from.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we as a society, and I don't just want to put it on our school system, we have higher expectations for our teachers and our support staff, but we have tied their hands when it comes to the ability to carry out those expectations.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
And that is since COVID, probably before, but definitely highlighted since COVID.
I think, but that's the other thing. I think a lot of people are blaming COVID. I think another blame is parents, which I want to get into in just a minute. So we've talked about the pay and recruitment of teachers. This overall stems, like the idea of this came from the recent news of the release of the grant program for that working, it's a working grant program where students were able to have like a work experience force within the district, and that it was paid out. Now that's completely gone. I would be shocked if the duties that came from that program are not do not get placed on the teachers. That's just my opinion, but I do think, in regards to this grant program being gone, now you're going to see additional
weight put on the shoulders of the teachers.
Yeah. So, why do teachers stay? Well, we already discussed that. Why are teachers staying, even if it's a poor condition? Families, you're already in the pension game, but the biggest thing is community involvement. The Quincy community has a strong Quincy community involvement that we are reliant on with these teachers.
Also, they went to school for this. I mean, I would hate to see them all just abandon ship because things are a little tough.
Yeah.
I do see that, if you are a teacher and you're hoping to stay in the game, what you're probably hoping for is what we all hoped for our bad boyfriends. Things are going to change. Things will change. Also, we have to be.
I don't know. We
have to be realistic here, guys.
Yeah, we
have to be the change.
Yeah, I hope.
Right?
Because unlike our bad boyfriends, the teachers are definitely the wave or the leadership to the future. So I do want to talk about the policies behind this real quick. So many of the policies that frustrate families and educators are handed down from the state or federal level rather than created by classroom teachers. So I do want to go ahead and place blame where blame is due. I don't necessarily think it's it is a direct result of our district, but
it goes back to
regulations
the
are
hands
coming.
being tied.
Yeah. Teachers can be pressured to advance students who have not mastered foundational skills. By the time some students reach junior high or high school, they may be far behind in reading or basic math. That's a big one here. So I can't tell you how many situations where, and it's not just my husband as the teacher has witnessed this, but my daughter as the student has witnessed this, where a fellow classmate or somebody literally doesn't know how to read.
Struggling, yeah.
Not just struggling, doesn't know how to read.
Yeah.
How did you get here at the high school level with not knowing how to read?
Yeah.
And somebody brought this up recently, and I'm not trying to stray big time, but this will.
It's coffee talk, go for it.
Yeah, with the sports complex. And it is a direct link in version to
Talking about academia versus sports?
Yeah, they have the same, but they have, I'm not trying to say versus, so you have a lot of people here screaming, we are passing students that can't read. Why are we investing in a sports complex?
Where's the
To
priority?
which I will say, but I don't know where this captivates because I don't have the statistics behind it. When academia, like you say, and sports are involved together, they are required to pass at a certain level. Is this the problem? Where we're passing people just so they can play their sports?
I think it's
funding too.
I think it's a multitude of issues. I think
Maybe
a lot
the sports
of which
helps.
I mean,
Maybe the sports helps where
possibly because
you
like
hold yourself at a higher
volleyball,
standard.
you can't play unless you're getting a C. However, what are the teachers doing when there is a D? That would be the next question. But more importantly than sports is, in general, what drives, my question would be, how is funding tied into pass-fail? How is funding tied into attendance?
I think
How
it's
is
huge.
funding?
It's
okay,
everything.
So then if funding is tied to pass-fail, and you're only going to get funding if you pass these kids.
Exactly.
Do you really think that we have, and I'm not blaming the teachers, I'm blaming the system. Do you really think that they, again, have the freedom to make sure that these students do not proceed without having the foundational education that they need? I think that is the whole problem.
If the teacher is the one that says, you know what, I don't think that we're right in passing this student.
Yeah.
They're going to be raked over the coals, especially if that student is, needed for that volleyball team. I don't know.
When we place funding above education, above the needs, then we have failed as an entire community, entire system.
I see both sides to the sports complex additive of helping education and also hindering it because we don't want to put sports above academics. However, sports sometimes pushes the academic value because the people that aren't pushing it are the parents. The parents, I think, are a big problem with this. We have come, and maybe it was COVID and being home alone and together, and I don't know, but like
also technology.
There has become a thing where right now, and I wanted to start this off with, what do you think the most hated occupation is locally? I'm going to answer for you. It's teachers, and the teachers are feeling it, and it's not just my husband that has said this. He had multiple coworkers come up to him and pose him this question, like, "Do you remember when like lawyers used to be the most hated occupation?"
I was going to say journalists, but
yeah, that too. Well, definitely journalists, lawyers, anybody that delivers the news.
I think anybody who holds anyone accountable is going to be largely hated.
Well, now it's teachers.
But now it's teachers, but they also are being hated, but they aren't allowed to hold people accountable.
No.
So then what?
Yeah.
But
so we have parents, though, telling their kids, you can do no wrong, and it's your teacher's fault. Like, I mean, when I say that right now, think of how many of you have said that to your child about
it's your teacher's fault?
This is your teacher's fault or something, which I promise you there are people that are saying this, and then that resonates in that student's head forever. Not only are students, this is bringing it back to the proficiency, but not only are students embarrassed like about the fact that they can't read, but what does that then lead to? It frustrates those that there are gaps there, and this leads to behavioral problems.
Yeah.
So because you're now embarrassed to read, and say the teacher asks you to read paragraph 3 because this is your turn.
Yeah.
You're embarrassed. Most people would be on the defense, and the defense then interprets as acting out. So we're
not going to school because you don't want to be embarrassed. I mean, that's part of it.
But like then, I mean, my big thing is when you are in school and then you're acting out behavioral problems. So now you have the teacher dealing with not only are you not able to be proficient, but now you're acting out behaviorally because you're embarrassed by your proficiency. The big picture with all of this about the fact that we are on the lowest paying scale in the state. I want to bring up the fact that the Denman teachers, the Isle teacher situation, the homeschool initiative, these are all a result of, and I'm not saying it's the blame of, but I do believe this is a result of not paying the cream of the crop. By giving, when you're literally paying anybody to do the job, begging people to do the job at this point, at this salary, starting salary and initiatives, then what do you expect that you're going to get?
Well, and you also have an environment that is not conducive to bringing teachers in. Like we mentioned, there's so many, there are so many barriers to this profession now. Teachers know that, summer vacation is probably not a thing because of low salaries. They know that classroom environment is going to be more difficult because of, lack of disciplinary and, they don't get to discipline these kids. They also know that their hands are tied with curriculum. So if their kids are not learning and they still have to pass them, it's like, well, I'm basically no longer am I making a difference in my students' lives, because I'm basically just being told what to do and you do it no matter if it suits you or not. I'm no longer free for my summers because I have to have multiple jobs. I now have to deal with a-hole parents who don't want to be accountable, so they pass that on to me, yet I'm not allowed to hold my students accountable.
Amen.
So then it falls on me. They have the added stress of mental health issues because, as you mentioned, all of these things are adding to these young kids' self-worth. When you have teachers who can't provide you a reason to, and I'm not saying provide, but create an environment that builds your self-worth, and you have an administration that is not allowing you as a teacher to fulfill your self-worth, and you have a government that's not allowing a system to fulfill its self-worth, then what are we doing here but running in circles trying to chase an impossible goal? And we can talk about salary all day long, because I do think that is going to bring teachers, but you could pay me, actually, you could not pay me enough to be the superintendent of this system.
Speaking of which, I do hopefully extend this invite to the superintendent. Maybe he'll join us one day on Coffee Talk to talk about,
The challenges.
these challenges. But I want to talk real quick about the wider community impact, which you've already kind of touched on most of those, is the fact that when students leave the classroom without their basic academic, workplace, and social skills, the consequences extend beyond the classroom. Employers struggle to find prepared workers. Are you kidding me? We talk about this all the time about how we can't get entry-level workers, and we're calling people from other towns and actually paying them to come here.
Or you're having to pay every day to make sure you have somebody show up to work. I mean,
no, but we as a city are still paying people. We pay them to come here on the 35 by 40 plan for entry-level jobs, because we can't provide them from the people, or from the product of our QPS system. Employers struggle to find prepared workers. Families face greater instability, and the community may experience more antisocial behavior and crime. No duh. This does not mean low teacher pay is the sole cause of the crimes, like the crimes that I mentioned before with the Denman Elementary teachers, the potential crime with the Isle teacher, the homeschool initiatives. I don't think the sole thing is teacher salary, but I do believe that like I stated before, I think that is a big contributing factor to this, especially when we're talking about hiring the cream of the crop, or even just people that compare. And then last, Quincy is preparing to spend public money on several projects that residents may reasonably debate. For example, the sports complex that we heard yesterday from Minutes with the Mayor, along with other initiatives. All the time, I feel like, we're making a committee for everything, and with committee comes solutions. With those solutions comes needed funding. So there's that. And then lastly, paying teachers more will not solve every problem in the public education, but it is one of the most clearest and direct investments Quincy can make in stronger classrooms, a more capable workforce, and a healthier community. It does concern me when I see people coming to the round table here, and we are discussing the cart before the horse, is like what you like to always call. We are investing in a sports complex. We're potentially looking into a homeless complex.
I think we can have multiple goals at the same time. I do think that
there needs to be focus.
There needs to be focus, but a lot of times, we need to rely on our school board and our administration to help guide those priorities. And I think ultimately we've lost sight of what's important. And I do think teacher salary, I do think they should be paid more. But I think if you sat a bunch of teachers down and said, would you rather be paid more or have an impact on X, Y, Z to make your job more fulfilling?
So give them that. We're not getting
That's
either.
what I'm saying.
We'll
I
never
think,
get either.
I think we probably need to, goes back to accountability. We need to hold our elected board members and our administration accountable for what we think would help our district. And it's not more funding from the government that is already tying our hands. I do think salaries are important. It does build, faith in your district and turnabout, the faith that they have in you as an educator. But I do think it goes a lot deeper than just salaries. And until we start looking at what is creating this immense problem, it is a problem that we have. It's so many different factors. But until you start looking at each one of those and finding out the driving force behind each of those, you can throw money on top of money on top of money. And eventually, people are still going to have to leave because their job is not what they thought it was.
No.
And they do not have the impact that they thought they
Okay,
would.
but we don't have the money. This is my last thing, and then we'll get on to the good news.
Sure.
Bruce. We do not have the money. However, I think, just like Bob has said in the past, when it came to those QPS meetings, like the community impact meetings, this was all in place for a potential new referendum. Mm-hmm. What if the referendum is focused entirely on raising teacher salaries? Would you be for or against it? I'm already going to say I'm against it, even though I'm sitting here proposing higher teacher salaries, because I feel like we have had...
I think if you tie teacher salaries to pass-fail of students, that solves a lot.
But the other thing is we have had so many property raises with this promise in the past. If you can't budget it in the past, how are you going to budget it now?
Yeah.
The same question that raises over and over again, which I need to look into, I guess, is a constituent myself. But those the gambling monies, the weed monies,
the lottery money that was supposed to be slated for education. Yeah, see, there's just so many there's so many things.
Can that go towards our teacher salaries? Why does it have to be our property taxes?
Well, those are good questions. I also think that, without having the answers to any of it, we can sit up here and talk all day long about what we think
but we
needs
did
to
point
happen.
out some things and some hard things that I think a lot of people don't want to swallow.
It just becomes a big pill to swallow.
It does.
And then you have to bite it, you have to eat the elephant one bite at a time.
Electric Fountain Brewing
It will help.
coffee will help swallow it down. It is a tough...
It's a tough thing, but it is our school... it's our school board, our administration. These are things that they should be asking, why are we having this? And I'm not saying they're not, but maybe we just don't know.
I don't know how we became the lowest paid, comparatively speaking. How did we become the bottom of the bowl?
That's a good question.
We are the belly button of Illinois.
Does it have to
Illinois.
Does it have to do with the success of our students? I'd be interested to know.
I believed a lot, in our community, and our city government is clearly tied to our public school board. So I think there is a failure there, and I don't know where it came from.
Yeah.
But man, I wish I went to school during this time instead of when we had to go.
Do you? I'd rather know how to read and feel,
Oh, no. I feel like there are still, there are still people that do it. They're not just pushed to the brim that they have to do it. There are still people that...
Oh, you're saying so you can just skirt by?
I want to be able to just skirt by.
Hey, well, listen, I think that I did some of that as well, but it is, listen, my mom and my dad...
skirt by.
Sometimes. But my mom and my dad, they let me know that if I was getting anything under this, I would have to watch my friends play outside because I was not out there with them.
Yeah.
You know, it goes back to the accountability. Lots of good questions
I
posed.
absolutely agree.
I do think teachers deserve more and deserve better working conditions. It is a huge opportunity, let's call it, because the problem is not with our teachers, it's with the system that is inhibiting all of this.
Yeah.
So.
Also, again, Dr. Larry Gray, if you have some time, we invite you to the round table on this coffee talk.
Yeah.
It might be a little different from the normal podcast that you're used to because we don't know what we're talking about.
Well, we would appreciate some insight because I think there are a lot of good questions that are posed, and maybe I'm sure there are things being worked on that we're not aware of, but yeah, it would be awesome to sit down and chat.
Especially before the referendum. So.
Yeah, amen. All right, so you have a good news, Bruce, because we do like to end our conversation.
You were gonna have it.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure I could come up with one. No, you don't have one? No, okay, I got one.
Did you hear my spiel?
Yeah.
I tried so hard.
Well,
the good news, Bruce, is they're still trying, guys.
Yes. Okay, I was like, wait a second. Okay, I got good news, Bruce. So we know that school sports have started back up, and we know that.
Amen.
Yeah. So we were just talking about the sports and the tie to education, and let me go ahead and say that in talking about self-worth and fulfilling and teamwork and camaraderie, the benefit of sports is. I'm not saying it's more important than in education, but it definitely is an immeasurable benefit for students and also for parents who want to go out and show their love and support. I think it's really incredible, and I recommend everybody going out. My good news would be the stands were packed last night it would have been Monday night for the first home game for QHS versus Sacred Heart Griffin.
Awesome.
Volleyball, all levels won. But the good news is the support from the families, the community, the school. It does take a lot to put on these events. So I like to see the engagement. Also want to give a big shout out to Shaney Waney for coming and covering that. He always does a great job. And I know it's, additional time for him. So I just wanted to shout that out.
I also want to add your good news, Bruce.
Sure.
With that volleyball shout out to Club 4, once again, for sponsoring an upcoming volleyball segment with Matt Chuckman, Chris Dewar. We're featuring girls volleyball from the months of September to the end of November. I just like the fact that we are focusing on female sports in general. Not that these guys would never like they always have.
Not that they're more important.
No.
But we're glad to see them.
But to me, they are. So
we're glad to see them in the spotlight, and I'm so appreciative to everyone who comes out and shows support.
Yeah. Volleyball is such a fun sport.
It is so fun, and I'm a little biased, I will admit that, but very appreciative. So there we go. There's my good news, Bruce. Go out and show some support, and congratulations to Denzel Casey and Susan Veach. Again, thank you to QCT for offering these vouchers. Go get your tickets. It's going to be a great show, and we hope you loved the show as much, right? So on that note, that does it for today's
Coffee Talk.
We'll catch you next time. Thanks, EFB.